Well, hello, everyone, and welcome back to Stop Collaborating Listen, the podcast where we have real, honest conversations about eating disorder recovery and what it means to build a healthier relationship with food, body, and movement. Today, we are back, continuing our summer movement series, which we're so excited for, to explore a form of movement that can maybe feel a little bit intimidating from the outside, but is actually very creative, welcoming, deeply community-driven, and that is indoor climbing.
Yes. So we are here at North Mass Boulder today. And whether you have never stepped foot in a climbing gym or have been curious, but convinced maybe it's not for you, or you're just looking for new ways to connect with movement outside of diet culture, we hope this conversation has something for you. So we are joined today by Hayden Thomas. He's the communications coordinator at North Mass Boulder and is here to share a little bit about his path to climbing and how today he helps grow one of Indianapolis's most vibrant climbing communities. So we'll be talking a little bit about climbing as problem solving, movement as play, and the importance of third spaces, which we've talked about a little bit throughout this series. So excited to keep exploring that and just talk about why climbing can be for everybody. So thank you so much for joining us today, Hayden. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. Thank you, Allison and Jen. I'm very excited. Thank you for coming here as well.
Yeah, I'm excited. I didn't read this portion of what you just said, and so I'm like, ooh, climbing is play, like all these fun things. I'm excited. I'm excited to get in today. So
very excited.
Jen, have you been here before?
I have, yes. Yes,
Okay.
I was on Hayden. My cousin climbs here and works out here, so I've come before. Am I good at bouldering? No. Did I fall a lot? Yes. Were my fingers sore afterwards? Of course. But it was really fun. I really enjoyed it. So.
Nice.
Yeah. What about you?
I am here too often. There's kombucha on draft here. Like it's just a really fun space. And I'm right across the railroad tracks. So I was hoping, my God, if there are two trains this morning and I'm here holding my bike. Two at the same time, opposite directions.
On the bike.
My friend's like, do you think the conductors at least get to wave at each other? And I'm like, how rare is that?
I've tried to time when they come, actually, because, you'll see them through the giant windows here.
Yeah.
And I'm always like, shoot, like, what time is it? Is it 8? Is it 11? And it's never, and I think too, like I've tried to find an app where we can find where they happen.
Same.
It does conflict with people getting here. I mean, I'll have members come in and they're frustrated because they're like, I just sat 4 minutes behind a train.
Oh my gosh.
And they've asked too, like, do you know how often they come? And I don't know if it's public knowledge or.
I've looked it up, like it's a bus schedule too. Like, where are these coming from?
And they're long trains, so
they are.
It's definitely cool to see them by the windows. It gives this very like rustic industrial feel.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that. Yes. But we are very close. And lots of fun stuff popping up around here too. Like
there is,
we go to Shindig often and it's just a good spot. Is pickleball happening?
It will. I was just looking actually on their website because I think they have one up in Fishers. So it's like a satellite group, like a satellite company. But I want to say they're just going to like tear that other old used building down or maybe repurpose it. That's what we did with ours. We repurposed the whole building, but I know that will bring a lot of action down here.
Yeah.
So
it's like the pickler. It's like a brand.
Yeah. And it looks huge from what I've seen. So I'm very excited because that'll definitely kind of keep this area very lively and active.
Yeah. If that doesn't work out, we should throw a few courts in Fulling Warehouse, I think, because the fact that we dedicated the whole place to football bowling is kind of
wild. Yeah.
All bowling.
Yeah.
People love it.
Never played before. Interesting.
It's quite silly. Yeah. But fabulous space. Before we get into a little bit about you, how is everybody doing? It's Friday. It's hot. It's about to be the holiday weekend. Lovely July 4th on a Saturday. I feel like we kind of all got screwed out of extra time off, but we'll take it. So how's everybody doing? What's up?
I feel fabulous. Minus the heat, I'm vibing.
Yeah.
I hope to play in some water this weekend, whether it's a pool or a natural body water. Gotta find one, but
options. I love that.
Yeah.
Are you traveling?
No, I'm staying local this weekend. I did travel a lot in June. But eventually, like, we'll do some stuff in July with my family, like go up to Michigan or something like that.
Lovely.
Beautiful up there.
So cool.
So cool. We love it. What are you up to this weekend?
My bestie's coming into town.
That's great.
Today and tomorrow. Last time we hung out last month, we watched season 1 of The Summer I Turned Pretty. She watched season 2 on her own. We planned this weekend to watch season 3 together.
Oh, what a lovely time.
We're doing that. But I am on the tail end of, I had this week, I'm saying in quotation marks, off to hopefully get my new office ready. And it is 95% of the way ready. I also did see clients as well. So it
Yay!
was
So you were so off.
so I was like off, like off. Like yesterday, I got my nails done and I laid by the pool for a little bit. So I was like, that feels like a good day off.
Very cool nails as well.
I know,
Love it.
Yeah.
she crushed it. I was like, I want an interesting vibe, and I gave her some options, and she just did this. I was like, girl,
Amazed. I like a little horror here.
I know, yeah.
Hmm.
I feel very fancy.
I like that.
Yeah.
That'll
I love the ring too.
Yeah, thank you. I just nails complimented me. I found this at like a thrift store for like, I don't know, $5.
Very cool.
It's very
And
good,
it's
like
so fun.
therapist, right?
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah, it's got very fun.
Lots of parts in there.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So, how about you?
Wonderful. I am doing well. I am coming off of a Widow's Bay binge last night. We started, and it is so funny and so scary, and I love it so much. But it's very good. So watching that and staying in the central air. But tonight we're headed to Evansville to visit with our nieces and nephews and swim at my mom's house tomorrow. So we'll be down in the corn sweat in southern Indiana. We were just talking about humidity and things.
Well, let's dive in. Hayden, tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you get here? Connected with Mass Boulder. Just tell us all the things.
I was working at a hotel. I was working at the Bottleworks Hotel, so just 2-3 minutes away from here. I'd been working there for almost a year and had noticed that the gym was slowly opening up, and I've never been one to climb. Like, I was not a climber before working here. A matter of fact, I wasn't even a gym enthusiast before working here. I was very novice. I began working at the front desk about 2 months after it opened and realized, wow, like this is a very large community, but also culture too. And having grown up in South Carolina, I was familiar with the outdoor scene, but I did not expect it to be here in the flat area of Indianapolis. I was kind of shocked. And before I knew it, I got swept up into climbing and I became, I would say, addicted. I was very like moving all the time, but I was also projecting, meaning like I was struggling on routes. And so eventually I would try and send them. And so it was a lot of, like you had mentioned, there's a lot of falling involved. And so it was kind of like, man, like I'm dealing with failure, but I'm also dealing with this problem solving aspect too. And I was just wired after that and have been ever since.
I have never, heard like a movement modality described in that way. And so that feels very like exciting and electric to me.
Yes. Yeah.
So cool. So I knew a little bit about that. Like I've watched like climbing on TV and like different things like that. But as you were talking, I'm also thinking about our clients with eating disorders. With therapy, we like to talk about like, are there things that you can do that are essentially not related to the thing to help you build that muscle up? And so the idea of like falling, of problem solving, of using your brain in a different way, I feel like clients, that could be so helpful in their recovery. Wow. Woo. So
Awesome.
cool.
Love that.
But I was working at the front desk and then I realized like I wanted to do more here. And so I eventually turned it into being more of a social media manager. And then that kind of floated into being communications coordinator. And so it's now more geared towards a marketing role. But I love telling the story of our climbing experience here and how it has really changed a lot of people, not just myself included, but hundreds of other people who had never tried it before. And because it is bouldering, there's no ropes involved. It's a pretty easy setup to get into. You know, you don't have to pay hundreds of dollars for a harness and a rope and other tools. Like, you know,
I didn't think about that.
Yeah, it's actually pretty affordable. Climbing shoes are kind of expensive, but other than that, you're just climbing shoes and a chalk bag and maybe a brush to brush your holds. And that's really about it. That's all you need.
Oh my gosh, all of this is so foreign to me too. I'm like, gosh, you're going to have to tell me so much more.
I was going to say, we need like a full
Yeah.
tutorial here about all things bouldering.
My climbing experience is definitely limited to the very safe harness, very safe,
of
slow
course.
rappelling down. At like, I remember like it's the Watermelon Festival, like in Vincennes, and we have like a 30-foot, like, and I was like, I'm the queen of climbing. I'm like 8, haven't done anything since. And so have no idea, grip strength, all of it, which I want to pick your brain about.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
What kind of makes a strong climber. But yeah, so all of this is so new to me. Excited
to dive in. Before we dive into that though, can you tell our listeners a little bit more about North Mass Boulder? Because we've got this delicious cafe. We've got lifting area downstairs. We've got bouldering. Tell us a little bit about
there's yoga back there.
Yoga,
too.
exactly. Yeah. Love this multi-purpose space. So
there's like a climbing treadmill wall.
There is. That's one of my favorites too.
Yeah.
You don't find a lot of those and other climbing gyms, it's usually like systems walls, but this one is this rotating. You can be on there for, 5 minutes and get a great workout in.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
I remember we started about 2024 wanting to dive into being more of a fitness center. We have always had our yoga studio. We've always had a fitness studio as well, but we wanted to sort of amplify it and expand it so people weren't super confused about, oh, is it just a climbing gym and I don't get any other offerings? So in about March or April of 2025, we started doing a huge demo out in our courtyard, which used to exist. It was more of just a outdoor leisurely space. And we wanted to utilize it to not only create a new fitness studio, but have a more expanded weight room. And we have wonderful equipment in there from Hammer Strength and Rogue, very similar things that you would find either at a YMCA or like a Gold's Gym.
Yeah.
It's a pretty good crossover.
I will say the reviews are in. My husband goes here and he was like, they finished the renovation. And I'd always said, if they had this, I think it was a road, if they had this, I would have everything I need. And now they have everything I need.
Yes.
So there we go.
We ran a big feedback campaign earlier this year, and we're still doing it too. It's kind of like an ongoing reach out for people that are like, you need this or you need that. And we listen for sure. And so that's probably kind of where, like, I wonder if your husband might have talked to other people and they're like, just scan that barcode and get your feedback in and we'll buy it. And
no, that's awesome. That's a great
idea.
idea. Yeah. Awesome. Okay. Love that. So we also, I forgot to even mention a gal that we used to work with, Madeline, is obsessed with this gym. And she works in the space, not a client, a coordinator in the eating disorder world. And I'm remembering she would always want to meet here. So she's really
and she did like different events here.
Yes. Yeah. And told me about the, I'm jumping ahead here, but the massive, that was called
North
Massive, which the name,
Wonderful.
love that name.
Yeah.
But just how big it gets. Because I know you said it's not just like this gym community, the climbing community too is a big thing.
We are almost like a destination for indoor bouldering specifically. I think we've sort of geared everything towards being not so much all fitness, but all inclusive. And because the climbing community is so niche and tight together, there have been people here that are doing things like yoga and fitness that are now like, well, now I've been doing that, it might be time for me to climb. And you can definitely see that too. Like I see it on social media all the time where people come here, not really to like invest in maybe being a membership, but they use it as an experience with their friends. And a lot of people go on dates when they climb. That's a big, it's a big dating scene down there. I mean, I've seen people meet their future partner here. Like I've seen people take wedding photos in the climbing area.
Oh my gosh.
It's so
cool. And it just shows like how strong the community is together.
Totally.
But yeah, like you had mentioned too, we also do a ton of community events up here. Majority of them are free. So it could be like trivia night, karaoke night. Cause I mean, it's kind of hard when you're doing an activity, but you're still wanting to be social. When you take a yoga class or a fitness class, you're typically geared in for that 60 minutes doing whatever it is, whether it's HIIT or a good flow. I will say though, too, with the community events that we have, you don't have to even be a member. And so if you're just needing that, escape for a third space, then we also offer that as well.
I love that. Yeah. And for people listening that can't see the gym right now, obviously, we didn't even really mention, like, I don't think it's a designated like co-working space, but like a co-mingle space. And there's always like, I don't know what kind of movies are on, but they're always very like nostalgic and great on this big screen out here. So very cozy environment.
The World Cup has been very popular. It's a big recommendation from a lot of people to come and watch it here. I've had people message us on socials like, are you showing the game today? And it's like, which game? Like, which game would you like to see?
Good idea. Yeah.
So that's been really awesome that we've had that opportunity. But yeah, up here too, like in the cafe, we have a bar, a 14 tap bar, so it's kind of like we do have fun. We do get a little silly, but we do it all responsibly. And like our nights turn into just fun filled adventures. A lot of memories have been made up here, myself and others.
Oh, I love that.
I imagine. Yeah. If you can feel the good energy. You can feel the vibe.
For sure.
Yeah. Here, which is so cool. Oh, love it. Okay. I feel like I could just listen to you talk this.
Yeah. No, I love this place. I love this place.
Well, tell us before you get into bouldering, what was the thing that like kept you coming back here? That was like, I want to work here.
I was getting tired of the hospitality world. Working at a hotel was pretty exhausting, and I was slowly leaving. I graduated during COVID. So I graduated undergrad of May of 2020, which
So sorry, no
I
graduation.
know, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no graduation for me, but I was like, do I get a job? Like, do I work? Like, what do we do?
Is the
And
world? Is this the last year? Like,
yeah, and
season finale.
I really felt like a season finale. And I mean, for a while, I was bussing tables at a Sun King. And then once February hit, everything started to close. All my classes got moved to being virtual. And so that summer of 2020, I was like, I need to find like a better paying job. I couldn't find anything within my degree. So then I saw this luxury hotel was opening up and I was like, I'm all in.
Yeah.
Did it for 10 months and I was like, this was really great and everything, but I'm exhausted. And this place had opened up in 2021 and I slowly just started to navigate because I saw this area was becoming developed and I thought, well, I might as well get in there before it becomes really popular.
Sure.
And so, yeah, I started out at the front desk and was using a lot of my customer service hospitality skills from the hotel, which was really great. But it was a much more easygoing situation. I'm not dealing with like a ton of guest recovery or anything like that.
Yeah.
It was just, checking people in or setting up membership, payment plans and all that.
It's probably like no brainer.
It became a no brainer. Yeah.
That's such a nice like fit to an experience.
Yeah. And I was like, I knew because of the outcome of COVID, I was like, I want to go back to school. I went and got my master's degree in public relations. And then that sort of bookended me becoming the communications coordinator here.
Oh, that's awesome.
And yeah, I knew that I wanted to work in administration for a company. I didn't necessarily know what that topic would be, but slowly and surely through my master's program, I was like, I really love the health and wellness industry. I kind of want to stick in this. There were a ton of different avenues to go into, but I realized that not only climbing was new, but it already had a following. And I was like, I want to share that with other people.
Yeah.
And so I, sort of pitched that idea to my bosses here. We have a CFO that's on site. We have a CEO that lives in Seattle. And then we have our president who lives out in Elkhart, Indiana. So they're kind of like spread out. But I was like, you guys should really make more time and invest more money into your marketing.
Yeah.
And it slowly started to bloom to what it is now.
What a cool path. And like has to just be very exciting the whole time, I think.
Yeah,
like,
that's what it sounds like.
I mean, except for the start of it, the COVID part is
It's
exciting,
tough.
but
We were still affected by that too. Like,
like 2021 is still
masks we were enforcing masks. Members were super great about it. And even some people were kind of like, they would say like, we had masks at the front desk and they were like, thank you for like having that because some of these businesses like the hotel wasn't super big on enforcing it.
No,
at
you
the
must
time.
smell our signature scents.
Yes. And I mean, in that, like there were times where it's like, sure, like at the hotel, having to ask people to put on a mask was tough, but I was like, but this is for all of our safety,
Yeah.
but mainly like yours. Like,
Right.
you would put it all on the guests and then they'd be like, fine. And then they put it on. And I'm like, when you get to your hotel room, you can take it off.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, right now, please put on a mask.
Oh my gosh. Wow, how full circle for this week. We're talking masks, we're talking climbing. It's a big week for climbing and masks.
Mm.
Yeah. What do we think, everybody?
Yeah.
I'm really laughing at everyone being like, they're hot and in love, release them.
Right.
The Empire State Building climbers. Yeah.
It's very shocking. A lot of it too, it actually is a thing. It's called urban climbing.
Yeah.
A lot of people do it, but you'll see it more like people will climb like underneath a bridge and sort of like traverse that where it's, good concrete. But obviously the adrenaline junkies that those two people were, I mean, they caught everyone's eye across the world. And I mean, I root for it because I'm like, yay, they're climbing. I wonder if they go to a climbing gym, but at the same time, I'm like, I would not do that.
I'm scared the whole time watching all of that
Heights.
stuff.
I'm like, no.
And it doesn't help that the footage we see is circling. And so it looks like they are spinning
Yeah.
on the
yeah.
State
It's
Building. And I'm
really
like,
dizzying.
okay.
Yeah.
Scary.
Dizzying.
So
Yeah.
scary.
But if I see one more meme, that flag.
Yeah.
I made
Yeah.
one. I say that. I made one for Impact yesterday. But now I'm like, no, the moment's passed. We got to scrap it.
My favorite was the Sophie Cunningham one where she was at the Fever game and she was pointing at the other team. And that circulated pretty
Oh
quick.
yes. My dad posted her like on the ship, like like the ship. Like the founders of our country, like that. Oh my God. Don't worry, my dad does not listen to this. Yeah. Anyway. Oh my gosh. So these two people on the Empire State Building, obviously very passionate about climbing. Why do you think people become so passionate about climbing? Maybe in this gym, not urban climbing. Yeah.
You learn a lot about yourself when you fail. And like you had mentioned about the falling, I will say it is scary when you fall because you know how to land, you know you're safe, but as someone who doesn't like the feeling of free fall, that was not my favorite. And learning to fail, it was kind of like, okay, I fell. I have two choices. I could go back and try again, or I could move on, go to a different route. And you start to kind of learn sort of different ways your brain works, and it kind of trickles into your day-to-day life after climbing for so many months. I will always be scared of climbing. I will always have a really close relationship with the fear that I experience while I'm doing it. And I've never experienced that. I do get this adrenaline rush, but I'm almost like, I feel so cool right now because I'm so scared, but I'm getting to the top. Like I'm making progress, and I didn't think I could do it. And I won't cry right now, but I've definitely cried out there because I was like, I just proved to myself that I can do this. And that's where, like, I think a lot of people, I get goosebumps.
I know.
I think a lot of people experience that level, which then creates the passion, and the healthy addiction to it, and always coming back for more. And that also makes people want to go climb outside and have these beautiful experiences outdoors. Yeah. Sadly, we don't have that in the state of Indiana, but there are plenty of places close, Southern Illinois, Red River Gorge in Kentucky.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's definitely the main drive for people's passion.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. I just had a friend, Christopher, was in Red River Gorge last week. I do some social media marketing for him. And then my husband was there in May, and they talked about all the routes and how they're like, we have few people fall every week, and obviously not like fall to your death, like fall safely, but just how terrifying it was. And he's like, I don't think you understand like how scared I was the whole time. He's like, I gotta go back. And so just like the addictive nature of like that same side of the coin being like fear and also just like supercharged like excitement is really cool.
It's really cool. I love that you talked about a couple of things. One, that like you didn't get on the first try, right? As a therapist, when I talk to clients about certain, you know, coping skills or stress management techniques, it didn't work the first time. So like I should just be done, right? And so I love that you're highlighting that like it didn't happen the first time. I tried. I was still scared, right? Because I think the other thing too that comes up for me is clients not wanting to sit in feelings, wanting to get rid of the feelings as soon as possible. And so for you to say, I'm still doing the thing and the big feeling is coming with me, like I get chills, like, oh
Yeah.
that's so cool.
And I think too, you highlighted like really this nature of so much inner dialogue. I'm assuming like, do I, I'm going to make this sound so silly. Do I put my hand here? I'm sure there's a lot more, right, that goes into this, but I'm thinking of other like individual sports or movement modalities like running, right? Like you can kind of get in your head about, okay, this distance.
Yes.
But there's really not, it's kind of narrow view, right? Like I can push myself to go a little further.
Yeah.
With this, I feel like that expands that inner dialogue so much to be like, can I go further? And do I go this way? And do I try this route again? Or do I switch routes? Like you said.
Yeah.
And I think that, to your point of how that can expand through other areas of your life, I feel like that has to do so much like enrichment on just, problem solving, really, like you mentioned.
It's one of the more endurance-based activities. Like you had mentioned running, and I'm like, I can't even run a mile. Like I am exhausted, maybe like halfway through that mile. And you kind of have to deal with a level of stamina when you're climbing, but you always know where you're comfortable at, where you're not comfortable at. And that's like one of the bigger tricks to it, really. Kind of knowing where to go first, where to put your hand, where to put your feet. But also it's like you're listening to your body. I'm like, am I breathing right now?
Yeah.
I'm not breathing. So I'm just going to go ahead and come down and I will try again when I'm breathing.
That's great. Yeah.
I love that.
Oh man.
Tell us about self-trust, because I know from the little experience I had bouldering, like, I had to trust myself that, like, I'm gonna go the right way, or, like, I'm gonna be able to fall and it's gonna be safe. Like, talk to us about that and how, like, trusting yourself kind of builds as you continue climbing.
Most definitely. The biggest trust to have is the falling, because with bouldering, it's inherently dangerous, but it's no more dangerous than swimming in a pool. Basically, when you're falling, you have a method of tucking your arms in, landing on either your butt or your back or like the heels of your feet. And that motion, the more repetitive you do it, and I mean, there's times too where before I even start climbing, or before I start climbing, difficult problems, I practice falling before I do it, just to kind of repeat and refresh my brain of like, this is how this is going to go. One of the things with climbing is you slip a lot. And so those falling motions, you could be kind of in a wonky position on the wall and your foot slips and, you kind of swing your body off, but you kind of know to pick your feet up and while you're in the air and kind of go up and do a little ball kind of and just fall backwards. And there's times where I definitely feel like my trust with falling was better because I practiced that one thing. We have these easy ladder holds on almost every single route. So when you get to the top of a route, you don't have to jump down. You can actually climb down easily
Oh,
with these other
nice.
holds. And so sometimes I'll just go up those holds, get to the top, and then actually just fall from that level.
Oh,
uh, just to kind of make sure, like, okay, like that's what that feeling is in your
Yeah.
stomach, in your brain, in your arms.
So it doesn't feel so foreign, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And you kind of practice the, like you said, those safety techniques.
Yes. Yeah. The safety techniques are important for just about any form of climbing. I am not super in touch with rope climbing. I've actually never really done it. I've really only ever done bouldering at North Mass Boulder just because it's accessible and I'm here 7 days a week.
yeah.
But I know like the level of trust in bouldering is way more heightened than it is for rope climbing, because typically with ropes, you're trusting yourself, but then you're trusting the person that's down on the ground.
Right.
Oh yeah, that's
And
true.
there's a level of communication that happens between the two, but you're also far apart. And so that's another level of trust that I personally haven't experienced, but I've heard from others. It'll strengthen a relationship.
I was gonna say we'll save that for our couples communication
Right.
episode.
Yeah,
There we
it
go.
will
There we go.
strengthen, whether it's a
Yeah.
close friend, whether it's a parent, whether it's a spouse, whether it's a stranger.
Right.
Your relationship with them is stronger.
I bet. Wow, that's so cool. I heard you say something, doing another problem. What will you tell me about, like, what a problem is? Why do climbers call routes problems?
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah. So that's pretty much every form of climbing, whether it's rope or bouldering, it's a problem. We
Okay.
call it a route as well. Problems and routes are based on here in a grading scale. So you'll notice when you come here, we have a kind of like a Roy G. Biv scale. So it starts out with red and then yellow, green, blue, pink, or purple, pink, black, and then white. Red and yellow are your intro pretty easy routes. They're on a V scale, so it's going to be V bouldering or V beginner basically, and V1 and on up. And so once you get around like the V2, V3, which are going to be your greens and your blues, things get a little bit more spicy. The problems get a little bit more harder because the problems will have different holds. They might be smaller holds, or they might be holds that don't have a lot of room to grab, or it's like a dual texture, so it's a little slippery. And so, the problems kind of escalate from there. And here we go all the way up to about V10. So we'll get to V9 and V10. And those are very advanced routes. The problem solving is insane. Sometimes, you'll find that two people will do it completely differently, but they both won't succeed. So then you
Yeah.
have another person that comes in and then does it completely different than the other two and sends it. So
God.
that's where the problematic side of it all comes in.
Yeah.
And it's very strategic too. Like every route that the route setters make. So we have new setting on Tuesdays and Thursdays. What they do is it's called forerunning. So they'll almost improvise the route, but they'll already have it kind of in their mind. It's very choreographed. It's very similar to ballet. And
Oh,
so the best part is like they'll be climbing and then they'll kind of put their arm or their foot somewhere. They'll distribute their weight and they're kind of like no, this isn't working. This feels a little bit like too much of a V2. And so they'll just make it a little harder to then make
Oh,
it up to a V3 or a V4.
that is so
Oh,
cool.
cool. That is so cool. As you're talking about, I'm thinking it must have been on the Olympics, or wherever they do bouldering on the Olympics, like, and we could watch. And so like it would be so interesting to watch people like try it. Okay, they would fall. They would look like try to figure out another route. But then yeah, also watching another person do it
Yeah,
completely differently. Which I think is so interesting.
I
It's
do
just
too.
so cool
Yeah.
to see.
It's like it's like watching someone do a puzzle.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
And we talked about it so much being an individual thing, but I think I've seen a video here, like of a huge crowd, like watching people in
Yes.
the,
Yeah.
like, yes, I posted that. And it was just insane. Like,
Yeah, it's so between and I'm over here, right, like watching the TV being like, "But you're right there. That's so
Yeah.
there." Like
Yeah.
thinking that I know the right way for them to go
yeah.
on this route. But yeah, it's so cool. And so like have people watching. Like I know I've done fitness classes and stuff where, someone is like trying to get a push-up goal or they're trying to do I used to work a lot with women and they would try to get their pull-ups, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's watching
True.
and just being like, get up, get up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
feels like similar. Like I feel like I've seen that here and with other bouldering stuff too. So
I can't imagine the hype that has to bring and just the extra adrenaline.
yeah.
So, yes. Yeah. Like, what a fun crowd. You mentioned ballet. Tell us a little bit about that crossover background and all of it. Yeah.
I never thought I would be sitting here having a conversation about me being a climber. That never was in my future growing up. So before I started doing any of this, even before I moved to Indiana, I was training as a pre-professional ballet dancer in South Carolina. I started actually pretty late. I started around 13, 14, but I started with like tap and jazz, very, rhythmic movement, learning how to count. And then shortly after that, someone was like, you need to ballet to get better at doing other forms of dance, whether it was modern or contemporary. And I was like, no, I'm not really interested. I was like, I don't feel like I want to do it. Like, I just was like, it just seems boring. Did it twice and then never went back to tap and jazz.
No way.
Wow.
So then I started training for ballet for almost a decade and realized shortly after, kind of like a little bit before started my junior year of college, I was like, I'm not even sure this is like my lifelong. Like, and so I ended up retiring from it I was like 22 or 23 and was
Yeah.
like, my body was starting to hurt a lot. And I was
Sure.
like, I wasn't super inclined to continuing it as a career. But yeah, I had some really cool opportunities. I did a couple summers at Boston Ballet and did
Oh,
training there, which was super cool. I got to meet people from all over the world. I've done one international competition in New York with my old studio back in South Carolina, and it is like the Olympic level of classical dancing called Youth American Grand Prix. And it was an incredible moment in my life. And yeah, it definitely was influencing a lot of like, this is what I wanted to do as a career. But dancing is one of those arts that you can't do forever. And you typically retire about 40, 45, and then you figure out, well, what do I do with the rest of my life? And that I think scared me a lot when I was younger. But I find that this form of movement is almost parallel to my time as a dancer. Everything seemed movement based, but it seemed choreographed and it had this level of artistry to it where I was feeling like I was on the wall and I was like, I'm in the studio, the dance studio right now. Like I almost like transplanted my brain there. And I listen to classical music when I climb. And I found that it just really it made my climbing better, but it also allowed me to accept not being a dancer. I know, I know, I know. I will not cry on this podcast, but we'll probably cry later on.
Here's the thing. All feelings are welcome here.
Yeah, yeah.
I love it.
I
I love it.
definitely get emotional when I talk about climbing, and I have actually with my therapist.
Mm.
I was on a family trip one time, and I needed to just escape from my family, and we were in Montreal, and so I'm like, everyone's speaking French, but like, I'm just going to go and climb with all these French Canadian people. And it was exactly the therapeutic thing I needed on that trip. And when I came back to the States, I'm like in my therapy session bawling because I was like, it saved me from like going crazy, like on this family trip. And like, it was wonderful. And because like, I always try to tell people, like climbing is a universal language. It communicates through movement, but translates to the heart. And that's how I felt when I was in Montreal, where I was like, I will never see these people again. They're all talking French behind me. I don't know if they're talking about me, but when I was up on the wall, they started clapping for me. And I was like, wow, like it was very impactful.
Oh, that's what a cool experience to have on your family trip too. Like, I'm just going to pop out and find a great group of people to climb with.
And it was like, I mean, I was there for maybe 30 minutes and my mood changed within 30 minutes. Like all the endorphins were heightened and serotonin at the max. Like it was great. Great medicine.
That's amazing. I love that you talked about kind of like grieving dance and finding something new. And I think that is something I know I struggled with, like leaving. I grew up dancing very probably completely polar opposite. So like we in this small Southern Indiana studio, they were like, ballet is cool, but we're gonna get you to competition. And so we were just like untrained and not great, but we were giving it our all. In fact, one of my solos, I got a Dances from the Heart award, which means this bitch has had no ballet, but she is giving it her all.
All from the heart.
All from the heart. But growing up and cheering just a little bit in college, once that was gone, I was like, I miss that so much. And I now teach a class that's choreographed strength training because I'm like, I need a dance class that's like sheer practice that I can move my body to, that's not going to bore me. And it's been such a great way to like find that piece again. And so how, like you said, I never thought of you sitting here saying like ballet is climbing and you're like doing classical music on your routes. That's such a cool, like full circle moment to me.
And I didn't realize the classical music would do something to me until about a year ago. You know, usually I would not have headphones in and I would just be climbing with the community and, you know, giving people encouragement.
Yeah.
You know, that was great, you know, or getting feedback from someone where I was like, I'm struggling. Can you help me? But once I got more comfortable, like a year ago, I was like, I'm going to start listening to the things that I was in the dance studio with. And it helped. I, I I'm not lying. Like it changed my way of climbing. Like, and it was just a little bit, but I was like, I'm like literally being graceful right now. And I was not graceful before. Like I was shaking and I'm just like throwing my arms and legs everywhere, but I'm taking my time. And like slowly I was like,
but I love the connection between movement and music. Like it's just,
yeah, it's beautiful. I sometimes try to tell them, I'm like, just throw some classical music on in the morning, in the Boulder area, and it might change some people's lives.
Very
I
cool.
feel like now I want to try it.
Yeah, yeah.
Very cool. Cool.
Yeah, no, I'm feeling very inspired to try something.
I know.
So
I mean, I live 30 minutes away, but I'm like, you know what? I might have to be here.
we'll hop over.
So,
yeah.
You're doing a great job here, like explaining and like making this feel very like inclusive and fun and interesting. Listeners, I hope that you're feeling this way as well.
Yeah.
Like, woof.
I know you have mentioned, I want to kind of know about not necessarily like ballet to climbing, like musculoskeletal wise, but I do want to know, we're going to talk about like climbing is for everybody.
Yes.
But if I were to climb for the first time, what might be like sore? What am I using most? How is it going to affect me?
There's a really big misconception that you're only climbing with your arms. I used to teach an intro to bouldering class here, and I kept telling them, I'm like think about pushing with your legs almost as if you're in a swimming pool and you're doing like breaststroke. Like you're still pushing with your feet to get inertia and move. So don't just rely, because you will be exhausted if you just use your arms and you're putting everything you have into that. So the big soreness will definitely come in your forearms. The grip strength is to the max. You know, everybody will feel that. Like that is they will wake up the next day and be like, I can't hold my coffee, or I can't hold the steering wheel because I'm shaking and I have no grip strength. So that will definitely be like one of the first feelings of soreness. But I personally, after maybe taking like 2 weeks off and I come back to it, I also feel it in my glutes and in my thighs.
Okay.
I'm because you're pushing so much of your weight to come up, where you're like balancing it with your weight in your hands, but you're also doing it to where you're feeling like you're jumping a little bit even.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you're also very like tense too when you're up there.
Yeah.
And I try to tell people like a lot of it will come from this central part of your body, like your core and everything, and it kind of just like shouts out from there. But yeah, I've climbed to where I'm like, my hamstrings are on fire.
Okay.
Like, and I don't know if it was maybe the route itself that was doing that to me, or maybe I was just climbing different. But yeah,
Like
it's
full body, huh?
full body,
Okay.
full body.
Mhm.
Yep.
Good deal. That's reassuring because Girly does not have the upper body strength she would like to have. So if we can get the legs involved, we
Same.
might be able to team
There you
up.
go.
Yeah, I definitely was just arms. Like, wait a minute, I have to do all of the again. You have to problem solve, like really, like see through
Yes.
everything. And,
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
like what this looks like a little bit. Just wish we armed it up.
okay, so yeah, so tell us about we're talking about movement for all bodies. Talk to us about climbing. Is there an ideal body? Is there a climber body? Is this for everyone? Tell listeners a little bit more.
In the comp world, in the competition world, in the professional setting, you'll find one body type. You're going to find the more leaner person, but that does not mean that someone who doesn't have that body can not climb. That is a myth. That's a fable. And that even goes to anyone can climb at any age as well. You can be well into your 60s and 70s and still do it. Yeah, and even bouldering, even without the ropes, I've seen
Yeah.
it with my own eyes.
Yeah.
Where people have come in and they're maybe not super inclined with climbing, but they're just like, my kids do it, so I'm gonna try it out, and they love it.
Also, I feel like the fall thing has to be helpful. Right?
Yes,
Like
yeah,
really learning how to fall.
yeah,
Like
Yeah.
I'm gonna start falling. I don't think so, baby.
You're
Yeah.
Preventing that. I'm getting ahead of this.
yeah. I always tell people that your body type does not matter with climbing. Like when I taught intro to bouldering, I had people of all different sizes, heights, ages, mm, even abilities. Like there are people here who have disabilities that are still able to climb, whether it's an amputee or whether they're blind, like they are still able to do it. Yeah, it's really magical. I don't know like too much science behind how that works neurologically,
Yeah.
but I'm like, hook some things up to these people's brains and let's see, because like
Yeah.
it's pretty extraordinary to
Oh,
see.
I bet. Just all the extra like sensory already how that's kind of
Yeah.
heightened. I wonder how that kind of helps inform.
With
I'm-
bouldering specifically, I'm not, I would say it's probably the same with rope climbing, but if you climb for like 2 hours and you're taking maybe like 5, 6 minute rests, 10-minute rests in between, you'll burn 500 calories easily out in the climbing area. And because it's bouldering, you're not hooked up. So it's like you can come back down whenever you want, take as much of a break as you want, and then keep on doing it. And yeah, it's definitely a very underrated exercise, even compared to it being, a big culturally known sport.
Yeah.
It's a really great form of fitness.
Yeah, absolutely. And the body diversity too, like I think of like running again, going back to like
Yeah.
running and like, of course, if we see like the Olympics, maybe all of those bodies look pretty similar,
Right.
but think of going to a marathon and like
Mhm.
all of the different bodies that you see. And it just shows like you can run a marathon and you can run like, and we can all look very different. So I love that that applies to climbing as well.
Yeah. So inclusive. Jump to your
Yeah.
Mhm.
Any like misconceptions that you think keep people from trying climbing besides scary falling?
Yeah, yeah. A lot of it is the idea that you already can't do it. You're already telling yourself that I can't do this, even if it's easy. Like I know that feeling. Like I still experience that feeling even as a climber who's been doing it for 4 years. I still will also tell myself I can't do this. But as a novice, as someone who's never touched a wall in their life and they're having that feeling, I always try and tell them, yes, you can, but that still doesn't always connect in their brain. But it's the sense of too, if someone feels like I'm too heavy or I don't have any arm strength, or comparing yourself to others. It's a
Ability. I hear that a lot
flexibility
too.
even. Yeah,
Stuff, yeah.
that's a great one too. Like someone's like, I'm very like I'm not limber. Like I'm stone and I am not gonna move. Like, and yeah, it's almost like you won't know until you try it. And a lot of times the best way to come out of those is if you are climbing either alone or with someone, and you're putting in a lot of effort, but you're also like trying to discover it too. It's kind of similar to if someone starts a new job and they're like having to learn a software. And they're like, the only way you're going to learn is if you're around there clicking on your own. Like, we can teach you these things, but if you're not in there by yourself clicking around and failing, like, you're not going to know. So I say that's a big misconception of people being like, no, I can't do this because I've never done it. But I mean, they would be surprised.
Yeah. Even just as you were talking about the stone man, I'm thinking too of just how much like almost stretching and mobility like climbing has to I'm thinking about like someone that doesn't reach their arm up this high or like,
Yeah.
get their hip up. And so I wonder, yeah, just like benefits that you see. Is that more mobility? Is it strength? Is it confidence? Is it a combination of those things?
Definitely a combination. With flexibility, you will be using it a lot with climbing, but there's the other sense of how do you maintain that, because you can only stretch on your own so many times, but there's other little things you can unlock. I've like explained to people too, like rolling out, like rolling on a foam roller, it completely, like, a fascial release is all they need sometimes. Like, I still do that, and I'm like, this is powerful. Like, I do something in my foot and then my shoulder's fine.
I so agree. I like it and it like fixes my brain
And the brain,
sometimes
yes,
and I'm like, I hate this, I'm pissed off. And then after I'm like,
Like,
well,
Yeah.
thank God. Therapy was cool today.
It's
Like
pretty wild. Yeah, and I like, yeah, people kind of think too, like, oh, I'm gonna warm up on the tread wall and I'll just get my heart rate up a little bit and then I'm gonna go out climb crazy. But yeah, like, flexibility is also very important because that's how you don't pull muscles and get injured.
Yeah.
We have a great, great yoga class for pretty much all climbing. We have like a slow flow class and a restorative class that really like deep dive into tissue release. And I have seen a lot of climbers slowly discover that that's here. They're kind of it's the same where climbers are like, no, I'm not going to work out. I'm not going
that's
to do
so
yoga.
funny. Like we both think the opposite of each other,
It's like three different worlds in one. And like, well, four with the cafe up here because there's people that just come up here to work. Yeah. So it's like, yeah, there's times where they're like, I'm not going to do a yoga class. And then you get pulled into one and you're like, well, now go try climbing. And it's like,
Yeah.
whoa,
Way different.
boom. Like, it's so amazing. Like, completely different. 180.
What would you say to someone who is like, that sounds cool. I'm not so sure I could actually do that, right? Like, I don't even know if I want to get started. I don't know if I want to go by myself. Like, what would you tell to someone who's maybe like their ears are tingling? They're like, this sounds interesting, but like they don't know where to start or they're feeling a little bit scared.
Yeah. Well, in that case, for someone who doesn't know where to even begin, I would almost do this as a fun activity with your friends. And if you can get other people to come with you and you can all laugh at each other, then that's where you really open up the door. Like, the gateway to climbing has now been opened and it won't shut. So that's a great way of just kind of getting your toes in the water a little. But our intro classes are great. Like, our intro classes give you like-minded feedback, but you're not being encouraged to do something that you're not wanting to do. There's a lot of level of comfortability with these intro classes. So it's like, you're kind of discovering how you move as a person, but you're also watching other people at your same level, which I think helps too with people connect, like we're doing it the same, but we have these different body types. One might be shorter or taller, might have a better reach than the other. And so it's like you kind of even learn with your group, even if you're all strangers. It's a great just invitational way to try it out. But yeah, I mean, we're open Monday through Sunday, and I mean, I find like weekends are a lot of those people that are like, their ears are tingling and they want to come, but they're like, because they're bored, they've done everything they can in Indy, and they're like, no, what have I not done?
Right.
And so then they'll come here on the weekends with their friends and tear it
for
up.
sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Icebreaker. That's so
It is definitely. And like the intro class too, if you are coming alone, you will typically find people to climb with, even if you're outside of the class. Like, you'll find they'll start coming on their own, and then it's like, hey, like, you were in intro last week. Like, do you want to climb together? I see that happen all the time.
That's so nice.
That's so thoughtful. Yeah.
I have another husband story. When he first started coming here, he climbed top of something. I'm picturing like it way different from here, like it's a mountain. But he at the very top popped up, saw a childhood friend from our hometown, and I'm like, okay, it sounds like a fake story. But just talking about like the community and all of that reminded me of just what a funny experience to see people, kind of like your Montreal, right?
Yeah,
Trip to get out and run into people, but
and always making new friends here.
yeah,
I love to hear. And I love too that you highlighted like if you can laugh at yourself. Remember the first time when I came here, I was like, first of all, I can't do this. So I had to work through that. And then also like embarrassed, like, oh, I'm so embarrassed. They know how to do it so much better than I do. But like, and I think a lot of what we talk about on our summer movement series so far is like, just go with it. Just just have fun. Like you probably are not going to be the only person who like falls or who feels embarrassed or who's laughing at themselves. Right. And so like, can we make it more fun instead of like, I can only do this if I'm perfect at it, which, I like to be good at everything. And so I'm like, if I'm not, I need to do that. But I don't know. It feels, I feel like after this conversation, I'm like, I think I'm like going to come here for like a month and just like have fun and do the thing and like embarrass myself. And like,
And I love the idea that like to start with like an event, because then it's like, hey guys, look at this wall over here. Like, should we try the wall over here? Like, I don't know. Should we all get fries? Like, because this feels that's such a good like intro. Because it's so kind of obviously it's serious and safe, but a little silly.
Amazing.
Well, I wanted to ask you about some upcoming events at North Mass Boulder. So you'd mentioned too that this was kind of like part scrapped, but revamped, right? So it was like 100-year-old warehouse.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit more about like the history of the building and the space?
Yeah, this building was a corrugated box factory, which I think makes sense because Bottle Works, where I used to work, is a old Coca-Cola factory. So I think, I think this whole area was more of the industrial center of Indy. Like I think just the east side in general, but everything kind of manifested. We were close to downtown, we were close to the circle. So it kind of made sense. And then I guess the highway systems being close to kind of helped.
Yeah. Trains are right there as
trains,
now.
So like this building was mainly used for that. It had kind of gone through different ownership, but the family that owned this building in particular, the Lacey family, they actually have the Lacey School of Business at Butler. So they're still prominent figures in Indy. They don't have any say or do on this building itself anymore. But this building's also under the National Park Service Registry for its age. Yeah, and Indiana Landmarks helped me answer some questions once. I had asked them, I was like, I was asking them, like, are there pictures of the building that we haven't seen?
Sure.
Because I wanted to do like a before and after kind of type situation. And they were able to find some too. And there's some other like interesting stories. Like there was a fire in this building once too. And so like some of the building was like gone and you can't get it back. But thankfully no one was hurt. Like there've been some crazy events that have happened here. But yeah, it definitely was like a hub for the factory scene. Early 1900s.
Okay. Very neat.
Love to hear it.
And sorry.
No, I want to hear about Massive. North Massive on October 3rd. Tell us more. What is this event?
October 3rd on Mean Girls Day?
On Mean Girls Day, yes. We're like slowly kind of like, how do we integrate Mean Girls?
Oh, it's on the flyer, right? He asked me what day it was.
Yeah. My gosh. Allison, I might take that. Basically, North Massive is one, a community climbing competition, but two, a climbing festival. It's one of the larger climbing competitions that happens in the country. And we have people from all over the United States that come to do it. And people of all levels, they can be novice, intermediate, advanced, or they could be straight up professionals that are already in the scene and have sponsors and everything. So
ages
too. Kids do it. A matter of fact, the first time slot that happens around 8 a.m. And then the second one are typically like the younger kids that come through. Wow. And by the way, don't be too shocked, but the kids are amazing that climb. And so
that little spider.
I know. And I'll climb, like I plan on doing the competition and I'm like, I'm going to do the 8 a.m. one just to get it out of the way. But I will be watching no kids because they're going to ruin my ego.
I see a bunch of second child, like daredevils, right?
Yes.
Like up at the top. They're
no
never
fear.
falling.
Yeah, they have no fear at all. And it's usually like those first two slots where like the kids come and the families, can do whatever. But We also use it as a festival too. So you'll find a lot of different art vendors here, small businesses. You'll also find more of the larger scale climbing businesses here too. So they could be maybe a manufacturer of a climbing shoe, or they could make climbing apparel. Climbing apparel is very popular. You have sort of seen some of it probably with Prana, but you've also probably seen some of it where there's these other kind of like knockoff brands that are more geared towards like climbing brushes and climbing gear.
Tell
And they're
us more. All these things,
Yeah.
climbing gear.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
What are the brushes?
Climbers are fashionistas.
Okay.
When I started, I was like, okay, I'm just gonna wear like athletic clothes. But
Yeah.
I'm like, no, everyone's out here making a statement. And so
I mean, they're looking up at you anyway. You might as well have something to show for
like
it.
the coolest t-shirts that I've seen are from climbing culture. And the brands that, people don't like Tension is one of them. And I'm like, they're like summer season is incredible. Like it's groovy, it's eclectic, it's trippy. And a lot of people too will also wear like there are climbing pants that are made to get torn or have better resistance from getting torn. But I see a lot of people, they'll just come out there with like Carhartt pants and just like, yeah. And it's like they are making it into fashion. Like it is
Wow.
slowly becoming that. And the shoes, climbing shoes are pretty wild.
Okay.
Some of them are authentic leather, some of them are vegan leather made with hemp. Really cool stuff. And they kind of range between easy, like a neutral shoe, to like a more hard, advanced shoe. They're not cheap, but they are a bit of an investment, but they will last you 6 months. If you take care of them, if you know when they are slowly wearing and tearing,
Sure.
you will know like, okay, it's time for, I just call them boots. It's time for new boots. Yeah.
Is that a full parallel to were you, when you're a pre-professional ballet dancer, were you in point? Were you?
Thankfully, I never did point, but I did steal that from the girls. I did steal the boots from the girl. And then I moved into this. So it's like there's times I'll post like on my personal, I post only climbing on my Instagram, and I'll post like boots by Tanaya, shout out to, at Tanaya or
That's
something like
incredible.
that. Yeah.
Okay.
But it's definitely a fashion statement. There's all kinds of cool hair, tattoos, you see it a lot. And it almost like, I mean, yoga, I think, has the same. Like I see a lot of fashionistas in yoga.
Yeah.
And like that scene kind of also trickles down to how people view.
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
Cool. Are people able to rent climbing shoes here, or do they have to have their own in order to come visit?
Yeah, we have the option to rent, $5 to rent, but every time it's a first time guest, they get their climbing shoes for free. So members also get unlimited guest passes for first time guests. So like, let's say a member could bring in 2 friends that have never been here before. They're going to go climb. Those 2 friends get it for free, and the rental shoes are free. So yeah, it's a pretty cool budget. And like, I think too, if you need chalk, I wouldn't say like chalk is needed for every person climbing. We do sell it here at the gym, like quality grade chalk, and like it lasts a long time. But it's similar to with gymnasts where their hands don't get sweaty. And like you will find like you'll get blisters on your hands and crazy calluses and stuff. So the chalk kind of helps prevent that, keeps you moving a little bit. But we do sell it. We don't have it to offer for free, but it is a worthwhile purchase.
And you might climb with like a brush to like brush chalk.
Yeah. So one of the things is the holds get really, really oily, and it's just due from hands, but also from the leather off the shoes. So you'll find like some of them get really squeaky and slippery. So with those brushes, and we do have brushes for people to use out in the climbing area, long brushes that extend, you can get up pretty high and brush them for you.
Okay.
And it just kind of gets rid of that layer of residue that could potentially have you slipping or coming off the wall.
Okay. Nice. Now I feel fully informed.
I know.
They do it outside too. So like even real rock gets the same treatment where, over time it gets really oily, and depending on whether it's sandstone or, something else, like it's like it could really like get oily and slippery just like a plastic hold does.
That makes sense. Yeah.
So a lot of people brush outside too.
Okay. All right. We're going to move into some rapid fire questions to wrap us up. So finish these statements, if you would, Hayden. Climbing is
Fun.
Everyone should try climbing because
It is an incredible workout that also works mind and body.
my climbing hype song is
Crazy by Dochi.
Love any Dochi around here. So, there's some Nissan Altima. I will climb.
Yeah. And I'll usually have it on repeat, maybe 3 times through.
Amazing.
Okay.
Oh, we love it. Okay. If you could climb anywhere in the world, you would go to?
Honestly, Red River Gorge. Red River Gorge is a staple for global climbing. People from all over the world go there. And
I don't think I knew that.
Yeah, and it's known for hiking, but it is an incredible destination for rope climbing. Very fortunate to have it close by, and yeah, that's the destination.
So, and one thing that you wish every first-time climber knew.
That this sport they can succeed and excel in, no matter their body type, no matter their background, socioeconomically, none of it matters. It's something that you can pick up so easily. You just have to give yourself grace and confidence to go and do it. And I remind myself that even every day, whether I'm wanting to climb something hard, but I also remind others that too. I love telling people that in terms of endearment out in the climbing area from someone is like the best. So that's what I would tell them.
I love that. And I think when you said like everyone can be successful, I think you've done a great job today just sharing like what maybe a different climbing session success can look different, right? Maybe on your family vacation, success just looks like connecting with people and getting out and maybe falling well. This day is your success. It's not always like getting to the top. Thank you so much for sharing all this info with us. This has been such a valuable combo.
This has been a really, really, really fun conversation. I've loved it.
This has even opened up things in my own brain that I don't think I'd ever verbalized before either. So thank you both.
Yay,
love
good.
You can do that. That's amazing. Where can listeners learn more about North Mass Boulder, find North Mass Boulder, come visit, do all the things?
Yeah. So for socials, you can follow us at North Mass Boulder on Instagram and TikTok. And for people that are interested in coming to North Massive in October, we also have a @North Massive account as well on Instagram. And then for people that aren't interested in either of those and they just want to explore the space, we have our cafe. It's called @Top Out Cafe. Got a great vegan menu, non-vegan options as well. And this is where you'll find up in the cafe all your community events, free community events, and just kind of plugging into a different third space that you didn't know existed.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I had the breakfast sandwich this morning and the decaf French press.
So
a whole ass French press. Yeah. I'm like, did you bring that?
Like, did you bring that with? I was like,
and then I was
that's
like,
a hot one here.
Can you imagine if you brought a French press? Right?
It's this kind of weather.
Yeah.
So definitely visit the cafe. It's delicious. So okay, well, we'll put all of that in our show notes. And listeners, we hope that you have loved this episode and visit North Mass really, really soon. So that is a wrap on our Summer Movement Series episode with Hayden Thomas of North Mass Boulder. Thank you so much for joining us. And we'll be back next week with another Summer Movement Series episode you will not want to miss.
And do not forget about your Summer Movement Series bingo cards.
Oh, thank you.
Make sure you check this off and hit up North Mass. And also, if you like what you heard today, please follow us on Spotify or subscribe on Apple Podcasts. If you're feeling extra generous, please leave us a 5-star rating or a quick review so more people can find our show. You can also follow us on Instagram @stop.collaborateandlistenpod to stay up with the latest podcast news. We'll see you guys next week. Stop, Collaborate, and Listen is a space for real, honest conversations, but it's not a substitute for individualized care. Episodes may include discussions of eating disorders, mental health struggles, trauma, or other sensitive topics. Please take care while listening. The content shared here is for educational and informational purposes only and should not be taken as medical advice, a diagnosis, or a treatment plan. Listening to this podcast does not create a provider-client relationship, and while we speak from both professional training and lived experience, we're not here in the role of your personal healthcare team. If you're struggling with food, body image, or mental health, we encourage you to seek support from licensed, eating disorder-informed providers who can offer tailored care you deserve.